Good morning and welcome to Moments with Marian Virtual TA Tips. And this morning, we're going to be talking about the big three. You may say, what are the big three? The big three entails three classroom topics that in the TA world we want to concentrate on when moving you through the quality rated system. So the one big three is the schedule. Another big three is relationships, and interaction is the third big three. The reason that we call these big three because these three components are seen throughout the entire scale. Now, you may know what the scale is. I hope you know by now, but the scales are when your TA says your scale book, these are the books that we're talking about. Your E3 book for 3 to 5 year olds, your infant toddler book for 0 to 2, and then your Fickers for family child care programs. And then there's also the purple one for your school age programs, your standalone school age programs. So with the big three, like I said, they are very important throughout, they appear throughout the scale. So that's why they're called the big three. And did you know some important facts? Is that 32 of 33 items in the ITERS 3, which is this book, deal with the big three. 34 of 35 items deal with the E3, which is this book. And 32 of 34 deal with Fickers, the big three, this book. And 25 of 29 items are within the Sakers that deal with the big three. So that's what we're going to do a little bit of concentration on. And that's what TAs, we always concentrate on the schedule, your relationships and your interactions, and your relationships and your interactions. So those are the big three. So one of the big threes that we're going to talk about is your schedule, okay? So schedule is not your lesson plan, okay? Your schedule can be designed around your lesson plan, or your lesson plan can be designed around your schedule, but those are two different things, okay? So a schedule goes with the flow of children. So for example, if you have been in a classroom and suppose you're brand new to a classroom, this is your first time teaching, and they had this schedule listed on the wall telling you 9 o'clock, we go outside, 10 o'clock, they come back inside, they sit down, they wash their hands, all this other stuff. And it's just not working for you, and it's not working for the children. It is okay to change that schedule. It's okay. If it's been up there for 20 years, it's time to change that schedule, okay? The schedule encompasses, the thoughts and ideas of the children, the thoughts and ideas of the teacher, and what works for that specific classroom. Now, sometimes with you going outside, if you have multiple classrooms in the same age group, then you will have to coordinate the times of going outside, also those times when you have lunch. But the majority of that schedule, you are going to create it among, dealing with your children, okay? Because everybody, all the children are different, so, and all classrooms are different. So we're gonna have to stray away from, oh, they've been like this for 20 plus years and I've never changed it or what have you, and it's not working, it's time for a change. So I wanted to share, when you're talking about the schedule, it falls underneath the program structure. It's how the program, meaning the center or your family child care home, is structured. Dealing with the schedule, I'm going to share my screen here so you can see some of the different items that we're going to be talking about within the parameters of the program structure subscale. So if you can see my screen, which you should be able to see my screen, item 33, and this is with the Eckers, which is the E3 book, your yellow book, program structure subscale. Item number 33, transitions and waiting times, meaning that if the transitions, when you're going from one topic or one part of the room, or you're going from lunch to recess or whatever it is, It needs to be something that's ran smooth. So that's why I'm saying the schedule sometimes needs to change around. Maybe that schedule that worked 15 years ago is not going to work with our 2020 babies that we have now. So as a TA, I would recommend keeping the staff-child interactions positive, smooth, individualized during transitions. Sometimes what you did last year in that classroom with that schedule, with that transition, is not going to work with the children that you have this year. Be prepared for your next activity. You know, that's what the purpose of a lesson plan is. Your schedule tells you time, but your lesson plan tells you detailed activities of what the children are going to be doing, what your activities are going to be. Supervise and follow up during transitions to ensure children are productively engaged, making sure that children are learning. And I'm going to talk about one of the myths that we hear a lot of times in the TA world. But making sure that the children are being productive and you're not just doing things because you saw somebody else do it, that you're following through, that you're supervising, and yet you're engaged in what they're doing. Minimize children's wait time with nothing to do, less than 3 minutes if possible. A lot of times as adults, we get complacent of almost controlling the children, and like, oh, you're going to sit there for 2 minutes, or you're going to sit here and, oh, everybody's going to read this book. Well, maybe I'm the child that does not want to read a book. Maybe you've been showing me the same book for the past 15 days, and I'm tired of looking at this book. So giving them those wait times, giving them something that's really fast, because children are constantly changing as we are constantly changing. So making sure that they're not waiting for a specific, for a long period of time. For example, I can bring it down to our world. As an adult, when you go out to a restaurant and you're hungry, would you like to sit there for a long period of time waiting on your food, or just waiting for something to drink? I think not. So think about, children are little parts of us. They are little people. So they have their thoughts and their minds as well. So they don't want to be sitting there for long periods of time, okay? Free play. Free play, this is a myth. This is that myth that I was telling you about. So a lot of times when people think that when you hear free play, oh, well, I heard that the children just play all day and they don't learn anything, and you can't do this and you can't do that. That is not what free play is designed to be. There's a lot of myths out there, and the best resource that you can do and go to is your TA. Your TA, like I am, will tell you what free play is. Going back up to be prepared for your next activity on the transitions, if you have your children or your classroom set up for children to be engaged, to have smooth transitions, you have it set up for next activities, then that free play is going to be going to happen automatically. The children you're basically setting the classroom up for the children to be successful. You're also setting your outside area up for the children to be successful. If you don't have anything on your playground, I'm gonna be walking around in circles. I don't have nothing to do. If you don't have things out in your classroom, I'm gonna be walking around in circles because I don't have nothing to do. Same thing as adults, if we were to go to Walmart and nothing was in Walmart, or there was only one rack in Walmart in that big store, and everybody just walking around Walmart with just one rack to look at, what would you do? Exactly. So bringing it back to the children, free play should be a minimum of 25 minutes indoors, 60 minutes of free play, including time inside and outside, with accessibility to theme-related materials and activities is encouraged. So the kids, they get tired of doing the same thing over and over again. So setting up, going back, making sure that you're prepared for your activities, making sure that your lesson plan is a lesson plan that can be successful and has been researched. Okay, supervise children during free play. Don't just sit there twiddling your thumbs. Do something with the children. Be engaged with them. that's 9 times out of 10, that's when accidents are going to occur. And then it's hard for us to come back and say, well, what happened to this child? Well, I don't know. I don't know, because you were not engaged with them. Okay. Allow children the opportunity to communicate, to complete activities during their required, before being required to move to another activity. Giving them time to be successful, giving them time to explore. That's why it's so important for us. You see, when we come around, we're always asking about how many materials do you have out of this? How many puzzles you have out of this? If you have 10 children in the classroom and you have one puzzle, that's not going to cut it. Trust me, it's not going to cut it. So making sure that they also have the right amount of materials out, but then also given them the time to play with those materials. Don't just give them, well, this is a brand new toy. You bring it out, bam, brand new toy. Sit it down 5 minutes. Okay, it's time to clean up. What? Really? I didn't even have time to clean it, to play with it. I don't even know what it does. Use a clear plan, like a waiting list, to ensure children can participate in activities. Sometimes, you're, oh, what are you saying? A waiting list? Sometimes if it's a popular activity like a computer or something like that, giving them time to explore those activities on there is a plus. Okay, making sure, especially if it's an activity that everybody wants to do. All right, whole group activities for play and learning. Ensure content of group activities is interesting to most children. So don't be giving them nothing boring that you don't even like yourself. Okay? Give them something, or if it's something that is like, okay, well, how can I, spice it up? Research. Internet's out there. All kind of books are out there. Research. Go to people that have done it before. Look for different ways. If you did it like this last year, then look for another way to do that same activity again this year. Group activities need to encourage child engagement. Like sitting there and we're going to sit around this circle and everybody's going to look at this flower. Well, lady, we've been sitting here for 5 minutes and the flower hasn't done anything. Make sure that all the children are engaged. And you're always asking the children, oh, well, sit crisscross applesauce. Well, sometimes I can't sit crisscross applesauce. And as some adults, we can't sit crisscross applesauce ourselves. So we have to think in the child's mind. I'm in the child's mind. How can I help this child be successful? Is it important for them to learn about what I'm trying to show them? Or is it more important that they sit crisscross applesauce? Is it more important for them to engage in what that I'm doing? Is it okay that I can just sit on my bottom and I can still see what you're doing? It's okay. Pick your battles, okay? Include active involvement to group activities and introduce meaningful ideas during group time. Allow children to leave group time if not interested. If I'm not there, sitting 10 minutes over there is not going to get me there either, okay? So if I wasn't interested in the first 5 minutes, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be interested in the next 5 minutes. So let me go on playing. That's why I'm going back to transition and wait times, giving them an opportunity to do other things. Okay, that's where that control piece comes in with us. We're like, everybody has to learn at the same time, but I may learn differently than another person. That other person may have to sit there and learn, where I may be able to go over to another activity and still listen to what you're saying. Be positive with children who have trouble participating in large groups. Okay, it's okay. At the end of the day, you're tired and the child is not. Who has won? Sometimes I see teachers getting so frustrated over a child that just wants to play. It's okay for them to play. That's what they do. That's what they do. So pick your battles, okay? So, talked about the big 3 today: schedules, relationships, and interactions. We're going to go ahead and talk about some more of those things later on in our next session. But I'm glad you guys tuned in to Moments with Marian. virtual TA tips. If you have any questions or suggestions, please contact me at 229-449-8005 or Marian with the longest email ever, marian.grant-whitlock@asurams.edu. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.